Yo, it's Elliott Hulse here, and during the 2015 Strength Camp Challenge, I had the good fortune to sit down and speak with some of the most entertaining, influential, and legendary kings and queens in the modern fitness era. These conversations are very informative, but relaxed and spontaneous, so I think you'll enjoy this experience. Your mother taught you the violin, or you taught the violin at a very early age, right?
Yeah.
How early?
5.
5 years old. And from what I understand about the violin, from what you taught me, and from what I've seen in some crazy ass displays on YouTube with other people.
Yeah, I showed you last time.
Yeah, you showed me is that it's less about, it's more about the angles in the air that you're creating. It's almost like you're making a picture.
You're sculpting
You're sculpting something with that.
You're sculpting with like time.
You're sculpting time.
Yeah, you're sculpting time with. Yeah, that's what you're doing.
Explain what the fuck that means.
Filmmaking and music is just are like sculpting time. Like you take a piece of, because it's in time. Music and film are in time, and then you take the pieces of reality, different slices of reality together, and you decide how long each piece is and which angle to slice, and you put them together, and then you flow through time. And that's what music is, like the space between each note, and like the space between two measures, and the space between one passage and another, and the spaces between like one movement and the other. Those are just like shapes in time, like you're just sculpting time. And I like what you said, because you're like, you had this vision metaphor of using a bowl and doing that. That's exactly what they're doing. Yeah.
So opposites attract, and I'm drawn in by you. This is fascinating. You're fascinating.
So are you. Now you're like studying a lot of like philosophy and stuff too, right? So like I'm sort of the opposite kind of. Like I started out reading the air, and then I started getting into the body a lot.
You came from up there,
and then now
into your body,
and you're the opposite. And
I came from my body. I know my spirituality through my body.
Yeah, exactly.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, and then like one of the things I try to do is to like consolidate the both.
Right.
Like the flesh and the soul, like the mind and the body. That's like one of the, like even, that's one of the major problems of in intellectual history. Like how do you bridge the gap between like body and mind, like between brain and consciousness?
It's not, the gap is bridged.
Right.
The gap is completely bridged, but you know what the gap is? Sexuality.
Right.
Sexuality is the full expression of spirituality and physical, carnal humanness in one act. I mean, it even creates another fucking human being.
It's a creative act.
Our collective schizoid tendency is the cutting off of our sexuality in our higher desire of civilization. Or our fear of what it would be like if we all embraced our sexuality.
That's why I'm so obsessed with sex too. Like, just
that's why I brought it up. Your videos, there's so much sexual stuff in there.
Yeah. That's I didn't think about it like that, how that's the solution, but like unconsciously I knew. That's why I like that.
That's the shadow. We're not. You can't be full if you have shit in the shadow, and we have sex in the shadow. So it's no wonder that Tantra.
What is Tantra? Like I hear Osho talk about
Tantra. If you think in terms of energy, Qigong, Tai Chi, the movement of energy in the body,
this is like
Tantra is the movement of energy through more than one body.
Oh, okay.
One way to look at it.
What you mean.
It's very sensual.
Right.
Tantra is like the sensual experience of exchanging energy with someone. Sex. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, in the tantric temples, they have all these pictures, stone carvings of sexual positions. Because part of the idea with Tantra is that we can reach enlightenment by cultivating our sexual energy, and by having sex, we can cultivate it in ourselves also. And sex becomes a spiritual act, and not just people fucking humping like dogs, which most of the time it is, because sex is in the shadow and we don't talk about it. But you do. Yo, dog, what's up? So you showed up naked in what city was that? You got arrested, right?
No, in Taiwan. I don't know. I did a bunch of places.
You did some videos where you were like having sex in the street.
Oh yeah, I put a mattress on the side of the road. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So you're kind of guy that a lot of people won't like because you know what you do is you expose the shadow.
Yeah, right.
You know.
It's
So-
cathartic. It's just like they watch you scream and stuff. Like
Right, I do the
because
same thing. I expose that
They do that
aggressive.
through you, kind of.
Yeah, I love it, dude. So this is a really good one because of what it takes to put your heart out there. Like that's what an artist does.
Right.
You know, and all of us are artists, especially if we're talking to the camera. We're giving a piece of our soul to people. How do you handle negative feedback?
Right. Well, at first when like years ago, I used to reply to fans, like gave me an feedback. I used to like I used to like argue with them with like logic or stuff that I read or like my ideas, and if I like sort of like quote unquote beat them in the debate, I feel good. But nowadays, I look at it as I look at like negative feedback as something positive because like I read this study just recently about how like the number one block. There's two blocks to creativity. One is other people. Other people will block. Their opinions will block creativity, and the other also is from other people is actually praises. Like praises.
Praise, right?
Praise.
Because
yeah.
I focus when I said that I emphasize negative because
Right.
that's a dualistic way of looking at it. Because just as much negativity that comes,
Yeah.
the positivity comes,
Yeah.
and they're both intense.
Yeah, and also I feel like they gave like monkeys like they teach monkeys how to do some creative stuff, and then they give them bananas, and the monkeys that got the most banana actually just stopped creating, just stopped like doing whatever they were doing to get the bananas. Yeah, so
That's interesting.
yeah, and
That says that like
Right.
there's a tendency to stop when you get to the top.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
get everything
yeah,
you
yeah.
need. So why go any further?
And I also feel like if like even artists and then if everything you make, everybody just
Right.
thinks it's awesome. Like you're not really doing anything new.
Right.
Because if you do something new, it's definitely people are like not everyone's gonna agree with it.
Right.
Yeah. But that's on the on a superficial level. I feel like on a deeper level, like I just try to like sort of like detach myself from like perspectives because like who's to say that like I'm right that this is some good
Right.
shit and then because like I try to like witness like the negative like it's not like how when you're stressed out in your body you witness that point of like discomfort like if you feel like your chest is tight or like you're horny something like you're horny I don't want to masturbate I just like do like the meta thing like I just like witness my feeling like detach myself from it, look here from the outside like I call like holding up a mirror against your feelings. Once you hold up a mirror against any thoughts or any feelings it dissolves. So you go into that space of like neutrality, where the space between like dichotomy arises, the space between thought arises, that pure consciousness space. That's what I've been trying to do recently.
Well,
Just
it's fascinating that you say that because you do it from a different angle. But one of the things that I've taught so many through my videos is to feel it in your body.
right.
Feel it in your body. Don't cast it into the shadow. Either deal with it intellectually
or
or be present with
be
it and
present with
express it.
Right.
You know,
right.
I got a lot of relief because I'm such a high charged person
Right.
from bioenergetic catharsis, the let go of
Yeah.
mind so that the
Right.
body can release
Yeah,
all the
right,
tension
right.
that traps us from
Right.
being the best versions of ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
But as I'm evolving, as to be such polarities, we also have to understand and absorb each other's ways so that we can be full. And I'm becoming more heady almost, where I don't have to exercise it in my body. By simply using rhythmical breathing exercises, I'm able to control the energy in my body so that it could be processed. You know, you have a cathartic means of cutting time and creating literal artwork with your videos and your music and everything that you do. So it's just interesting how the energy moves through us and what we end up creating in our lives. What do you feel about death? This is my question now because we're going somewhere.
I feel like death is the ultimate orgasm of life.
Wow.
Like, I feel like you know how an orgasm they call it. I think it's Greek or Italian. I don't know, but like they used to call it a mini death. Like it's when
French.
you have, French.
Le
Yeah,
petite
when
mouette.
you know about that, right? Like when you have an orgasm, you sort of
It's a
you
mini
sort of
death.
it's like an ego death almost. Because when you really have sex with someone, you gotta drop the ego.
Your eyeballs roll back.
Yeah, you can't have ego when you have sex. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And then once you have that mini death, you come back and you sort of like renew yourself. And I feel like death is sort of like that. And I feel like
It's a climax.
Right. And I feel like you guys were talking about earlier about like dying before you die. Like I
Right.
really identify with that too.
Right, and if we recognize that pattern
every
in
time
our
you evolve,
lives,
yeah, it's like
then we have
yeah.
detachment from the ego. So when it comes time for the physical body to die,
Right.
hey boys,
Right.
we've done this before.
Yeah.
We've died to versions of ourselves.
Yeah.
So dude, yeah, I like the way you
Yeah.
say that. And to use the term orgasm makes it so physical,
And,
meaning that
right.
it's a visceral thing as well as a spiritual thing.
It's funny you mentioned the dichotomy. I think death and sex are two sides of the same coin. One is like
One is very physical, tantra.
Right. Yeah. No, one is very one is a part. It's a union thing. One is a destructive thing. So it's like a creative destruction when you have both.
Yes.
So I feel like I think about when you ask that, the first thing I thought about was like sex.
Right.
Yeah, because like death and sex, like I think about them like
With the destruction is the new birth.
Yeah.
You're
So-
familiar with Nietzsche.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
How interesting is it that the lion
Right.
turns into a baby?
Right.
The pinnacle of the lion's evolution,
Right.
from camel
Right.
to destroying the dragon,
Right.
he becomes a baby.
Right.
What does that represent? New birth.
Yeah.
Could just be another experience of new birth. Awesome. I'm going to ask you one more question.
All right,
Yeah. I think we answered so much in our conversation, but here's something from somebody. It says, have you always been so artistic and creative? Has it always been a part of you? If not, what has been the driving force of your artistic vision and creativity? So that's really a two-sided question.
Okay. Well, I think everyone is creative, and it's just like they block it. Just like it's like meditation. Everyone can get into a meditative state. Everyone can become enlightened. Everyone is enlightened, but it's just like there's so much like bullshit coming through our life, like ideologies from other people, what other people think, and like what you read, and a bunch of stuff. Not saying like those aren't good. Those could be influences to drive your creativity and stuff too. But like, I feel like most people are creative, but like there's blockage there that not allow them to shine through. Like I think it's a birthright to be creative, and like kids are creative. Even when you learn to walk, you're doing something creative. And then I feel like kids they look at how they learn to walk. They learn by falling. And I feel like a lot of people like we're brought up like people like adults teaching us that when you make a mistake, it's just bad. But,
Right. There's no way to be creative without making mistakes.
But then the kids when they learn language and then when they walk, they make a lot of mistakes. And that's how they learn. And I feel like that's what we need to do. Just like not give a shit about like what other people think. That's such a cliche because like
I know,
but
it's so much deeper than
but
that.
I think like you should give a shit because like other people's opinion also makes up who you are.
Because we live together. We've chosen this.
Yeah. So like I always say that the artwork it doesn't exist unless there's a perceiver and a creator. So it's like a process of like you perceiving my art and it's the work and the perceiver and the creator. It's like a three-way thing.
Yeah.
So like again tendra. So it's not just like I'm gonna just go into the woods and make this sculpture and no one see like you can, but like I don't think that artwork is complete unless there's a perception and I think that's how reality is constructed too by like perceiving and if you read like the new quantum physics stuff. Yeah. So like I think you should care. You should be detached to it from like the goal thing you were talking about. You should have a goal, but like just let it go. Like detach yourself from the goal, or like the ego thing. Like of course you can't live or you can't function without an ego, but the thing is to transcend it and to like, witness it. Just like get into the other space where you can like take a mirror and like shine.
You're talking about the essence. If anybody's having a hard time understanding where you're going with it, you're talking about the essence of creativity.
Yeah.
And you can look at it one way where Osho says creativity is the greatest rebellion.
Right.
But then you also think of it in terms of all the gifts that come to the world because of someone's creativity. You think of a Mozart.
Right.
So, in a way, we're all Mozarts.
Right.
If we're just rebellious enough to know that we would be a gift to the world.
Right.
And that we could receive the gifts that the world wants to give us back for being a Mozart or a Frank Yang. This is an awesome conversation. Give me a hug, man. Daniel, get rid of that pillow. Yeah, our genitals can confront each other. We don't need pillows between us.